Hi, Gemma here from Calligraphy Gems. Today I'm going to be talking with Deja from Dreaming with Dej. And Deja, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Deja. I am originally from Illinois and I now have moved to Pittsburgh where I've also shifted my business out here. And like Gemma said, I am over Dreamin with Dej, which is a positivity brand, and we provide hand lettered and handmade gifts and designs.
Cool. And to let the viewers know how we know each other, we both took part in Dina Calligraphy's Calligraphy Business Accelerator course. So we were both looking to grow our calligraphy businesses and ended up connecting, even though I am based in the UK and Deja is not. So it was a really valuable way to meet people across the world. And I'm really happy to have you on my channel, especially as my very first guest. So I think we're both a bit nervous because it's a first for both of us, but it's exciting because of that.
I think it's so interesting that you mentioned like you being in the UK, because when I said from Illinois, I didn't even think about the separate countries. Like
Yeah,
me being based in the US, it's just so natural. But
yeah.
yeah.
My first question is, how did you come across calligraphy?
Yeah, so it actually was kind of weird. And during COVID, well, actually, let me date it back to my sophomore year of college. I started a bullet journal. And in my bullet journal, I was always doing fancy lettering because I seen other people on YouTube doing that in their bullet journal. I never necessarily knew what it was called or that it's an entire world out there of calligraphers. I just like, oh, that's pretty. Let me try and mimic it. So I
Mm.
started teaching myself calligraphy. And then during COVID, once COVID hit, everybody got into their habits. So I started with nails. I love doing my own nails. But then I came across a TikTok of somebody from Details and Swirls. Her name is Danielle from Details and Swirls. And I seen her doing that lettering on an acrylic sign for a wedding, and I fell in love. I was like, what is this? And that's when I started learning what hand lettering and calligraphy is, and that it's actually a way to truly do it and not just teach yourself like, oh, let me just color it in thick on the downstrokes. So from there, I started YouTubing it a lot more and really watching a lot of the Happy Ever Crafter videos on YouTube. And then I'm started to try and find the people that look like me in the calligraphy world. So I got in touch with calligraphers of color and met Brittany from the lettering journey. And from there, it kind of just spiraled into a bigger thing. So still kind of fresh, but I've been doing calligraphy for years, just didn't know I was doing calligraphy for
Yeah.
years.
See, I find it quite interesting because that's kind of how I started calligraphy as well. So I actually started learning when I was a child, and my granny was like really into arts and crafts, like way even more than me. Like she literally had a room of her house dedicated to crafts. And she taught me calligraphy and I absolutely loved it. And then I stopped for a while. And it was when I was bullet journaling that I started thinking about it a bit more again. And I started saying to like friends and family, like, oh, I should start it up again. And then I got gifted a calligraphy set for my birthday. But I did, yeah, I guess the same as you, like I started lettering in my bullet journal, even though I didn't necessarily know what it was.
I was like, oh, so pretty.
Yeah, so that's cool. And then I guess my next question for you is, why is calligraphy important to you?
I think calligraphy is just a way to express another way of expressing art and creativity. So like similar to your story, how you said you grew up around creativity. I've always been a creative person. I've always loved to draw, paint, in some type of way express something. So I think calligraphy is a way of truly showing something about your personality, honestly. So everybody has their different styles. So even though there's modern calligraphy, there's so many other styles out there of like how you can letter and just truly express yourself. So I think it's important to me because since I've gotten into calligraphy, I found it as a piece for me. taken notes writing calligraphy and have calmed me down. I journal in calligraphy now sometimes. It's just a way of like calming, and it's more of a serenity type thing. But for everybody, it just means something different. I think that's what makes it special.
And I found it really interesting when I was looking at your notes before this call, because it's so true that sorry, I'm just saying, Frank, it's 2 seconds. My cat is jumping on the kitchen counter. Frankie, get down. Sorry, the cats are not allowed up on the kitchen counters, so I don't know why you jumped up.
I understand. That's so important.
So as I was saying, yeah, when I was reading your notes, I found it really interesting that calligraphy reflects your personality, because I love the look of like copper plate, lots of flourishing. I think it's absolutely beautiful, but I don't feel it's me. And that's why like I've not learned it, because I think even if I was to learn it, it wouldn't feel like it fit in with me. And it's really weird, because I can love the look of something, but for some reason it doesn't connect with me personally.
Yes.
And yeah, I'm the same. Like I don't actually tend to create like long pieces with calligraphy. I love calligraphy for the fact that it like complements my bullet journaling, and that it just, because journaling is like part of how I'm creative as well, so it like adds to that. And for me, I absolutely love greeting cards as well, and like creating this style of calligraphy based on the person.
Yes.
So that's, I guess, how I express it as well. Like like I shake it up dependent on who will receive the card. And I guess that's my way of expressing myself via calligraphy.
Yeah. But it's like you're still determining it based on who's going to receive it. So that lettering is still fitting their personality. And I love the fact that you said like how you like copper plate, and I'm the same way. I think pointed pen calligraphy is beautiful. But my personality is very vibrant and fun, which is why I go the like more so hand lettering modern calligraphy route, where it's more bubbly and like upbeat and uplifting, versus trying to make it truly just elegant. So I don't know. I think it's so beautiful that everybody has such a different style. And that's why like you will never, ever, ever make the same piece. Even you writing it yourself, it will never be the same, because calligraphy is so handmade and so personable. So
yeah. Do you think, this question isn't on the list, so curveball, that the type of calligraphy you are drawn to is likely to impact where you take your business?
Yes, I do. I just, again, because I didn't actually really think about this, but this goes back to like a lot of people really love the elegant styles for weddings, versus me, my style is more homey, more modern. So I go more home business, because I'm not going to make a bunch of signs written in this beautiful, elegant thing where it doesn't feel like home. Versus the pointed pen for on envelopes for your wedding, or very slanted and straightforward type calligraphy. I think that's a more of an elegant business. So your brand is more elegant, your brand is more calm colors, and versus like somebody can have a more vibrant brand with a lot of colors and very out there. They're not going to probably be at people's weddings. So I definitely think that your style of calligraphy does drive your business very heavily.
And yeah, I just was thinking of it because similarly to you, I was thinking of gorgeous like copper plate and pointed pen, but how I associate that with weddings. And I've actually been thinking, because I've been trying to draw myself back from doing wedding stuff, because I feel like it's not very me. And again, like I wonder if that is connected to like my style of calligraphy, and it being more about personal use as well. And I think like what I love is teaching calligraphy. And that sounds kind of bad, because I've just recently become a full-time calligrapher. But my favorite part of being a calligrapher is not actually making calligraphy. It's teaching other people so that they end up loving it, and they end up like finding something they love about it and incorporating it into their own lives. yeah, so I find it really almost, it feels like a confession, like, oh, I'm a calligrapher that doesn't actually like to create calligraphy pieces. And there are some exceptions, like I have created some custom pieces and I love people like it just adding something to their home, like with you, like I've created custom pieces and people have loved it. And I do love that side of things as well, but I think I'm largely drawn to teaching it.
Yeah, your passion is within the teaching areas.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, we need that in the calligraphy world, because without calligraphy teachers, I wouldn't even know how to do calligraphy. Like I think about the Happy Ever Crafter, majority of her YouTube videos are all about teaching you how to do something. Like that's truly what I learned most of it from. And then I took some classes from other teachers as well. So we need all of the aspects within the calligraphy community. Or like, and then when you talk about like different styles, I always, another way that just popped into my head was chalkboard lettering. Like that's another style of calligraphy that really genuinely shows somebody's personality too, that's very out there as well, or very vibrant or very fun, when they do like a lot of different lettering styles within the chalkboard.
Yeah. Yeah. And then let me make sure I've not missed any questions. So how did you decide on your business name?
So I think that was the hardest thing for me, was deciding a name. I didn't want to just go with like Deja's Calligraphy or Handwritten by Deja. Like I wanted my business to be a brand, and I know we're going to talk about that a little bit later. So I was like, I know having calligraphy in your business name is important, but I don't want to just be known for calligraphy. So that's why I didn't put that in my business name. Instead, I wanted my business to really truly show who I am as a person. So I'll kind of like break it down. The word Dreamin came from two different things. One, it was biblically related. So there's a scripture out there in the Bible. It's Proverbs 13:12. And it says, hope deferred makes the heart sick, but a dream fulfilled is a tree of life. And breaking that scripture down is just saying, like, you can have high hopes for something, you can want to do something, and if it doesn't go the way you want it to go, you can be sad about it. It makes the heart sick. That's depression, anxiety, whatever that may be. But a dream fulfilled is a tree of life. But like when something goes your way, you fulfill a dream, you fulfill a want. It's like this whole new awakening of like, I'm refreshed. So that's where the word dream came from. And there's so many different meanings in just the name Dream alone. So I just kind of underlined some things I'm going to read about. When you think of the word dreams, it's a waking of life, it's a visionary, it's your imagination. It's a release from reality, which was really important for me. It's known for its beauty, excellence, and enjoyable quality, my products. And then it's a strongly desired goal or purpose, and it satisfies a wish. So that's why I came up with the name Dream. And then when I said with Deja, is because I'm still on that journey myself. I'm still on the journey of finding my purpose. I'm still on the journey of like, what am I on this world for? Like, why did God put me on this earth? Who am I supposed to become? So that's why I say you're dreaming with me, like come along this journey with me as I am vulnerable and expressing myself. You're able to do that as well. But then when I relate that to my products and the things that I do sell, it's like I love making those signs that bring you an uplifting view of like, okay, tomorrow's a better day. It's a simple sign that says tomorrow's a better day, but when you wake up and you read that every single day, it becomes a habit for you, and your dream is now part of your life. So that's kind of like why I chose my business name. It's very drawn out. I can go on and on about it all day long because I love talking about it, but it meant so much more to me than just saying Deja's handwritten designs. Like, it's
Do you want to
more
know
so,
how I decided on my business name?
yes, I do.
Because Gem's Calligraphy was taken. Because when I came into this and started my like Instagram account, I had no idea like how much calligraphy there was out there,
No
and actually
idea.
how common it is to have like your name in calligraphy. But it just happened that Calligraphy Gems, it doesn't necessarily sound like my name. And some people go, oh, Gems as in Gemma.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, it was carefully thought out, not because the other one was taken. So I love like how much thought you've put behind your business name. And I also love that, yeah, not including calligraphy in your name. Like it leaves it open for you as you, like you said, as you're on your journey and you continue to grow. Because I think we never know what's around the corner in terms of like
Exactly.
even just like getting creative. Like for example, this time last year I started watercolor, and I'm still not great at watercolor, honestly. But for me, like it's a real like outlet, and I love, yeah, I just find it really relaxing. But if for, later down my journey, like I got serious about it, but I had calligraphy in my name, like it limits me a bit more. So I think, yeah, definitely not including calligraphy leaves you more open. It's like a tough call for people to make because they
It really
start.
is. It's very I can't think of what it's called right now, where there's like one person goes one way, the other person strongly believes in another, but it's half the calligraphy world is like, you must have calligraphy in your name or you're not going to be successful. And I'm like, I've seen some successful people without calligraphy in their name, but it's still something that means something to them. So like, even though, perfect example that just popped in my head, Ink Me This, her name isn't with calligraphy, it's not with handwritten, it's called Ink Me This. That could be anything, that could be tattoo, that could be
Yeah.
printers, like, but her name, it stands out because she built a brand for herself and people know that name as soon as you say it in the calligraphy world. So I do think people are successful without having calligraphy in their names, but I would rather go the route that I'm more comfortable with than trying to just be like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna put calligraphy in there just because somebody told me I have to do it. I don't know. I like to go against the odds. It's always been my personality. Whenever somebody's like, you need to do this, and I'm like, just because you told me that's what I need to do, I'm gonna do the opposite.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. So let me move on to the next question. So how would you sum up your business in one sentence?
I struggle with this one just because I was like, okay, I have my summary on my website, but it's 2 sentences. So I was like, oh, she said 1 sentence, but I rearranged
Add a comma.
I put a comment in there if you notice. So I said, we are designed to empower and inspire you or a loved one's daily life, gearing towards your dreams, goals, positivity, and finding growth in your purpose. So that's how I would sum it up. It's more so like summing up my brand, not necessarily like the products that I sell, but like who we stand for.
And yeah, that was kind of interesting for me to say that because I do not know how I would sum up my brand in a sentence. Like you, I'm still kind of working out where I'm going. Like I do have an idea, but I do get excited by like different things, and yeah,
it's so hard. You can be so inspired by one thing. Like I can be on TikTok and be like, wow, I love that. Like right now, what's trending is resin, and everybody's doing something with resin, and I'm like, how can I incorporate this? Because I love it and I want to try it. Like, it's the thing to do, but you can be so steered in so many different directions within being in the art community.
So how do you feel that calligraphy gifts can bring positivity into people's lives?
Oh, I loved this question. I think so. It all started as a kid for me. I was always into gift giving. Like from as long as I can remember, everybody's Christmas gift, birthday gift was always homemade. And just to see the smile that it put on their faces, and like to see like they would hang it up somewhere in their house or put it on their desk or something, was always so like warming for me. So when I think about calligraphy gifts in particular, so my specialty is I love making signs and engraved items. A sign can say anything you want it to say. So a lot of the signs in my apartment are purposeful. So one of the signs that's right as I'm leaving my bedroom door, I actually got it from a friend, Britt, from the lettering journey. And it says, I'm looking at it now, faith will take you places fear won't. So I purposely put it there as I'm leaving my bedroom so I can look at it every single morning. So I think you can bring positivity into their lives with gifts just by giving them something that means something to them. another example that I have is one of my closest friends. She was, everybody goes through stuff. It's life. So I made her a gift for her birthday that was engraved mason jar because I know she loves drinking her coffee and her teas in the morning. So I engraved it with the quote that just really underlined, basically just telling her, like, look at where you've overcome, like nothing held you back. And she loved that gift because that's a constant reminder, like, you are strong, like you're not going to be held back from anything. Look at what you've overcome. Like, that's so positive for her to read that every single day. And like, it's a constant reminder for someone. Um, so I don't know. I love making gifts like that because it's purposeful. You can put anything on a sign. You can put almost anything on a mason jar. Or I did a homeowner's gift where I engraved a bottle for his new home. And that's something so exciting because it's a milestone. It's something that you can always remember and be like, oh, I remember I got this key on this glass. That was my first drink in the house. Like, so it's always something special behind any calligraphy gift that you can make someone, which is why that's like my specialty.
Yeah. And I think even just knowing like someone has put in like care and attention into making something for you. Like, I had a colleague in my last job that was amazingly talented. She was just so creative, and she would always make us like handmade cards, and she would always like wrap things up in like a really eccentric way, but it's always like so beautifully done. And yeah, it was just so nice that she put in that time. And I always felt like giddy when receiving something from her because it's so rare, I think, that things are handmade, or it's becoming increasingly rare. Maybe you're lucky and you have lots of creative people in your life, but for me, like, it was rare, and I absolutely loved receiving handmade stuff. So
Yeah, for sure. I think my creativity definitely speared from my grandmother, and like more recently, even my mom is like really gotten a spark for like wanting to do more stuff in her home and like wanting to make things. So like we kind of work together to throw like parties for family members. But growing up, I've always seen my grandmother in the kitchen baking or making something, like, hands down, always. So I think that it's always definitely, like you said, it's something special to know somebody put like their blood, sweat, and tears into something to give to you.
I do wonder if stereotypically it's a generational thing as well. Like you mentioned about your grandmother always like cooking or like making something. Like, my granny was very creative, but she was also always in like the garden, and my grandpa always like loved to cook. And my grandpa like made these massive handmade boats, like really like not actual boats, but like model ships. And you would look, and like the amount of detail in these ships was like incredible. And I do wonder like whether like our generation has lost that a little bit, because even I like quite often I get distracted. Like, my phone is right next to me, like my phone is always quite like next to me, and I think like I can spend 30 minutes scrolling through Instagram when I could maybe divert that attention into making something handmade and unwinding and getting creative. And I think it can make such a difference in our lives, like getting creative and making stuff handmade.
Yeah. And I think as you were talking about, like, is it a generational thing? And I think back to like at that time, our grandparents didn't have access to as much technology like that we have. So all they could do was truly cook and, make things, do something productive that was fun to them. So I think it does kind of just stare down and stem down. But I agree, we have to find those times where we do step away from our technology because, like I said earlier, crafting, doing calligraphy, doing something creative is my main outlet. Like, I can tell when I haven't made something or done something. That's when I'm like kind of like at my worst. I'm stressing. I'm sad. And my friends are like, have you drawn today? You should go draw. Go draw and take a nap. Like, I'm stressed. So it's definitely an outlet for a lot of people, especially me.
Yeah, and journaling is that for me as well. Journaling is when I tend to switch off from like technology, and I tend to do it in the evening, like before bed, and it's like my way to kind of unwind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Journaling is another good outlet and aspect, and especially I don't know, when I think of journaling, I think of two different types of journaling. I think of bullet journaling, and I know we could go all day long about talking about a bullet journal, but then I also think of journaling as far as like a prayer journal or a journal to release yourself, because when I did my bullet journal, it was truly a planner for me.
Mm.
So I never had that as an outlet of necessarily releasing emotions. I had a separate journal that I like actually journaled and released emotions.
Yeah.
So, but journaling is definitely another big way of decompressing before bed for sure.
Yeah. I don't know if I have. Oh yes, I do have another question for you. So how did you decide on calligraphy gifts as your niche? I have a feeling we've somewhat covered this, but if you would like to answer anyway.
Um, I think for me, calligraphy gifts as my niche is because, as we kind of talked about, I've always had a gift for giving. Like I've always loved to give. I hate when people are like, "Oh, what do you want?" Because I'm like, "What do you want?" That's always been in my personality. Yes, nice to receive a gift here and there, but like I said, for as long as I can remember, gifts to family members, birthdays, Christmas, especially, everybody got a homemade gift. I would love to just go to Dollar Tree, Target, and Walmart and find any type of crafting stuff that I could make something different. Every year it was different. One year I was in embroidery, one year I was in the painting, then I finally started drawing on glasses. Like it's been so different, but that gift for giving has always been in me. So like, why not turn that into something that's profitable? Like everybody be like, "Oh my God, you make this, you should sell it." And I'm like, I just wanted to give it to you. But then, you always giving and giving and giving. And my bank account was decreasing and decreasing.
Yeah.
So it's definitely like, why not turn that into my passion? But I think for as long as I can remember, as far as like the calligraphy aspect, I know we talked a little bit earlier about like when I started to learn calligraphy, but I actually called my mom the other day or last night and was like, "Tell me the story again about in kindergarten." So in kindergarten, I got in trouble. Not necessarily in trouble, but they said Deja's too much of a perfectionist to color outside the lines. And I'm like, my mom's like, "How is that a bad thing? She wants to color in the lines." And then in middle school, my middle school teacher said, I get behind when taking notes because I want my notes to look too perfect. So like I want my handwriting to be perfect, to be, top tier, even though my handwriting used to be very ugly as a kid. But like as I started to get older, I had to perfect my handwriting. So then that's when I started to get into bullet journaling in college, hence the lettering. Now I love calligraphy. So combining my love for writing, crafting, and then my gift for giving, which is how I determined that I wanted to make calligraphy gifts my specialty of things that I provide. And we always love putting a smile on everybody else's face.
Yeah, like I love that feeling when I've given something to someone and they genuinely like are happy. Not just the, "Oh, that's nice."
Yeah.
Like they generally do like receiving them, like that fulfills me as well. Yeah.
And actually, since I've announced to my friends and such, most of the stuff that I have made for people that they've purchased was for a gift for somebody else. So like somebody approached me to make his sister's graduation gift, or the homeowner's gift was for her friend. And so majority, like the Mother's Day gifts, I was like, "Hey, I want you to make wine glasses for my mom." So it's always been a gift for somebody else. So that's why I'm like definitely sticking to calligraphy gifts as my niche. And you can go anywhere with that. I can combine that with my lettering. You can get a sign, you can get a bundle. So there's a lot of opportunity out there with just that in general.
And even like the material itself, like you said, was it resin you said looked really cool, and then acrylic you said you were drawn to. So I think there's even like specialities within that niche as well.
Exactly. There's so many different ways that you can take it, which was very overwhelming for me because I had to be like, okay, what do I enjoy the most? Let's start with one thing and then gradually increase, which is why right now my main focus is engraving and wood signs. And I'm slowly getting into canvas signs, and then I kind of want to just go from there and start to slowly add things in. I don't think I would ever, I love greeting cards, but I don't think I would ever go the route of cards unless it's like a holiday flash sale where I'm like, hey, buy this gift, I'll add in cards, but it's likely not going to be cards that I make.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see, but I
See,
think
I like cards because they're easier than signage.
they're definitely easier. Like you can,
Yeah.
you can definitely do cards much faster than like with a sign. You got to start with sanding it, then you got to stain it, then you got to paint it, then you got to measure it, and
I'm not that patient.
and I think that's why it calms me, because it's more of a project that I'm working on. I'm getting my hands dirty, and then I can just put my music on and take a couple hours of just like, I just want to focus on these signs. A lot of time when I'm doing a craft, my phone is usually just playing music and on do not disturb. And I just can just get in my own zone of like, I'm working on this for something. Versus like when I try to get into like quick lettering, it was like, oh, I've already like, especially when I do my Wednesday wisdom post, it's just so quick that I'm like, oh, now I'm done. What's next? Like, what can I do
now? So I'm so sorry I interrupted you. I can't remember quite where we were. So you said you enjoyed switching off, like the switching off element of like creating signage.
Yeah. I like the fact that like I get my hands dirty. I can take some time to do it. And then as far as like engraving, it's more of a process rather than at night when I just want to quickly letter just to get some lettering out the way. That's where I do most of like my Wednesday wisdom posts are usually done at nighttime when I'm like, okay, let me just do something before I go to bed.
Yeah.
But I enjoy like in the sunlight, and this is like my best time to work is like I put my music on and I just get busy on a task. So that's why I kind of like the bigger projects rather than like the greeting cards and those. But who knows? Who knows where the wind may take me? You never know. In 5 years, I could be doing greeting cards only.
Yeah. You generally don't know though. You really don't. Cool. So I think that's all of my questions. I've really enjoyed doing this video.
Yes.
I think we were both kind of nervous starting off, but I think we got into the flow of things. So
yeah. At one point, I forgot we were even recording, but this was nice. Thank you for having me on. And I'm so excited to see where both of our businesses will take us. I know you're definitely further along than me, but with me still being in these early phases of like truly just getting started, I'm really excited, especially for the holiday season, see what we both can do for the holidays. So yeah, it'll definitely be fun. But I'm not sure, do you want me to send you like my Instagram page or anything to put in the
yeah, where can people find you? What's the name of
it? You can find me on Instagram at Dreamin with Dej. It's not, I always have to want to clarify, it's Dreamin, IN and ING with Dej.
And I'll link it down in the video description when I upload it as well.
Yes.
So cool, this has been fun. Thank you for being my first guest.
No, thanks for having me. I'd love to come back whenever you need me.
Yeah, I was thinking it might be interesting to have you back for like some signage, maybe later down the line.
Yeah.
Considering it's your speciality.
Definitely. That'll be fun. Yeah, we can do that. But yeah, well, thanks for having me, Gemma. I really enjoyed this.
Yeah, I enjoyed it as well. Yeah, so thank you again and enjoy dinner.
Well, you go get some rest. I'm pretty sure it's late there.
Yeah, it's pretty much my bedtime now. So
yep, go get ready for bed.
Speak to you later.
Bye.
Bye.